All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Can you just give an emoji? You can just say hi, hello. Welcome to day 3, the Exceptional and Significant Leader Conference. Our team is inspired to influence. Wow. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait for today's session. If you're part of those that watched yesterday's session, I also want you to put an emoji on the chat in the chat room. I was blessed. I was really blessed. And if perhaps Paris, maybe you couldn't you're not available you're not available to hear the speakers, you would see a link in the chat room. You can ask for a replay. You can send or you can also get you can send a DM to Mr. Terry or Modibo that you want a replay. This is a program you shouldn't miss. This is a video that you shouldn't miss. It should be part of your archive. So let me just quickly share just a little because we're running out of time. Yesterday we had Dr. Nii Shoyinka. He spoke on profiting from your knowledge assets, the concept, the process, the money. Please don't miss it. I can't really say so much, but all I just want to say is that just go and get the replay. The second speaker was Dr. Nii Borire from Sydney, Australia. He spoke on visionary leadership, positioning yourself for global relevance. He gave us the myth, the process, and the reward. This is another powerful session. Please go and get the replay. All you need to do is just to send a DM to Mr. Terry or Modibo, and you will get the replay with just a token. Thank you very much. So without wasting much time, I'm just going to bring up our speaker for today. Like I said, today is the day 3 of our exceptional and significant leader. And the speaker that will be speaking today is a wonderful and amazing, phenomenal sister, phenomenal woman. I've heard her speak in one of the programs that we had together, and I'm so excited that I know that she's going to give us a powerful and impactful session this morning. So Mr. Terry is going to bring up our speaker. But before then, I'm just quickly going to read just a summary of a biography. It's just like I said, it's going to be a summary because I can't really I can't read everything. Good morning, Ma. So I'll just quickly read our profile. Dr. Esther Olasunkanmi Akintunde Amoye is a goal-driven HR practitioner with over 15 years of extensive background in various talent management and development functions, rendered to internal organizations as well as corporate clients, public and civil service and agencies. She's a certified member of various bodies, which is the KMI, Prince 2, and she has many competencies cut across various value chain of people management and transformation consulting. She has developed herself and others through coaching and mentoring programs, design and implementation. She has engaged in different active learning and development by conducting gaps and need analysis. She's also a training facilitator, and she has special focus on individual teams and leadership. Dr. Esther Olasunkanmi Akintunde is a guest speaker in today's session, and I know and I trust she's going to deliver to us this morning. Thank you very much, Ma. I welcome you on board. Thank you. Oh, Ma, we can't hear you. I think your volume, yeah. Okay, yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah.
All right, I was muted.
Yeah, thank you, Ma.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here and good to see you again. I remember,
Yes,
I think we met some time ago.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And a fabulous speaker you are as well. I must commend you. Thank you for that rendition, of my little person.
Thank you, Mom.
All right. So Wonderful morning, everyone. I mean, we can't overemphasize the meaning of change. We have gone through a lot of changes in the past 1 year or like 2 years. As a nation, as the world globally, I have experienced, COVID-19 and all that it has brought upon us. So change is nothing that is not familiar to us. My topic this morning seeks to examine and look at how we can actually continue to lead. And you know that what Mr. Terry Modibo is all about is how you can lead and succeed. It's not enough to say I'm a leader, but how can I lead exceptionally and succeed? That's what makes us significant. And I'm going to start by asking, also take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, what would make me significant? What would make me different? I had a session all day yesterday and I was asking for, from the people that I met, I said, a lot of things are working fine, but do you think that there's something that you can do to make it significant? When something is significant, it means it counts, right? So that's what we're looking at. Now, when you lead, you are setting the pace. When you lead, you are taking charge. When you lead, you're a kind of, exercising authority, when you lead. When the situation is right, it's maybe, okay for us to do that, just I'm leading, I'm the boss, I'm directing, everything is cool, but we have found that when there's a change, when there's a calamity, when there's a challenge, the true content of who we are comes out, right? So now I would ask you again, what would make you significant? What would make you different? You see, people that know me know that I have gone through a lot in terms of my personal life and in my, career life as well. This world is not always ideal. It can't always be the way we want it. Please let me know when okay, I think they've given me time already, so I'll try and be on track because I can talk all day and I won't I'm happy when I'm engaging like this and I know that people are out there. You know, when you give a prominent display of your ability to withstand pressure and also lead others. That shows leadership. So now let's look at it quickly. One quote that I love about change. It says, to improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. I'll take that again. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. You know why change often comes in? Because there's no end to perfection. Where one person's perfection ends is where another person's perfection begins. So, one thing that I want you to take away from here, a lot of things will come up, is that change is truly a continuous process. So, when you feel you've attained one level of leadership today, the next thing you should be looking at is the next level of leadership. And that quote is from Winston Churchill. Churchill, had a significant role to play in American history. So it's something you can read up on. So if I want to change, if I want to get better, I'll change. For us to move through any level of life, there is need for change. And you know what? Life is always assessing you. Situation and circumstances will assess you. So it's not enough to say I'm a leader. A leader is someone who sets the pace, who knows, who has a vision, who knows where he's going, who knows how to get there, and then who leads others so that they can also go on that journey. A leader doesn't stay behind. A leader is not cowardly. A leader is not afraid. A leader may have some fears, but you don't show it. You're not afraid, you must be strong, right? But then one thing that makes you exceptional is your willingness to continue to change. What are the kinds of change that we may have, around us? What are the things that, may force us? Because, when change comes, it causes you to have a rethink or a redo. A rethink of your processes, a rethink of how you handle matters, and then a review of the actions you normally would take. Now, let me give an example of the COVID-19 that hit us. With the world is still going through the impact of COVID-19 right now. A lot of people had to make adjustments in their thinking. Before COVID-19, nobody would have thought it was okay. in a lot of environments to just sit at home on a Sunday morning and not go out to church, or on Friday and not go to mosque. But with that change, people quickly adapted and saw that, you know what, people still connect using technology. How about work? A lot of organizations had struggled with, flexi working, work from home, let's meet online. And you have a lot of people saying different sorts, like it's not possible. We like to engage because we are social beings. But with COVID-19, people just quickly, went into online, platforms, Zoom, Zoom began to trend a lot, Skype, again, Facebook, for engagements, for meetings, for seminars and all that. And so a lot of changes happened in the lives of people. Change can also hit you personally. Lifestyle, you know. So you go about your life, you take the same volume of Coke you were taking when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, and then at the age of 20 something, 30 something, you find that your body can't take it any longer. It's best to change it. How about in the workplace? Policy can change, management can change, decision, can change, standards of doing things can also change. But you know what? Our ability to adjust, some people find it difficult to adjust to change. That's where the dilemma is. So there are different kinds of changes you may experience. You may experience change in the atmosphere, which we have seen a lot, lately. But if you continue to move about without protecting your body, the ozone layer, has been depleted so much. You find that when the kind of heat you experience sometimes is not the normal one, you must make adjustments to cope with that. There may be changes also required of you financially, so your earning power reduces or increases, and then you have to think again how you want to manage that, how you want to appropriate that, how you want to ensure that there's something for the rainy day, there's something for investment. That is also change. Change comes upon us in different ways. But the best way to respond to change is to improve with change. Let it bring out the best in you. There's something in project manager now that is project management that is called the agile approach. Agile approach is, for you to continue to look at what is required per time and adjust your ways, so that you can deliver on that thing. So can we be agile as leaders? That would set us apart. But if you're rigid, you know that it is rigidity that causes the tree to break when the river is flowing. Usually, the palm tree would flow and bend to the wind, but when a tree decides to stand and the wind is blowing, it can get broken. So, usually, we have to adjust. Okay, that's the thing about change. Let's talk a little bit about challenge. Change is different from challenge. Change may be something that is forced upon you or something you intentionally take upon yourself, right? You can intentionally decide that, you know what, I want to move to the next level. When you decide to change, there are steps you need to take. One, identify and establish the reason for that change. When you have established the reason for the change, you now define what the change is going to be, what the end of that change is going to be. Identify the reason for the change, establish or define what the end product of that change is going to be. A kind of crafting a vision around that change so that you can know when you get to that change. The next thing you need to do is now identify or make a list of the things that need to take you on that journey towards that change. You have defined or looked at the reason why you need to change. You have defined what you're going to see at the end of that change. Now you have to list the things that will take you to that change. There could be people. It could be adjustments personally in your life. It could be resources that you need. So somebody who needs to begin to do a lot of trainings online, for instance, you need a good laptop, you need a good internet service provider. So you need to understand the things that you need. Then you need to begin to attach as well the sources of those resources. The things you need are the resources, the sources, are there things you can get for yourself? Are there things you need to seek? Are there things you need to buy? Do you need to borrow? Do you need to learn a skill just to be able to do it? So the sources you need to define and then go to that sources. When you have done that, you need to now begin to implement and take action. As a leader is not a talker. A leader is a doer. A leader defines, that is the talking part. A leader understands, but a leader does. A leader always does. A leader will always do. So what you are doing is what will lead to the outcome or the results that you want to see, right? So those are the tips I have as per responding to change, defining the change and pursuing that change. Because if you don't understand or agree, right now in Nigeria, there are lots of reasons why people are clamoring for change. Some people feel they know the reason. Some people don't even understand it. But a lot of people are just going about it. So what you don't even understand, you may not be able to commit to it. That's the reason why you must, tell yourself the reason why I need to make this change. If you want to achieve a greater level of success in your career, for instance, you must define or tell yourself why. Why do I need to make this change? Why do I want to change my status? Why do I want to become better? What is it going to be like for me? What am I going to get from it? It is that connectivity to your emotional, being that helps you get commitment to pursue, that endeavor to the end. Let me put it that way. Now I'm going to look at challenge. Change is different from a challenge. A challenge is usually something that calls you to prove something. Ordinarily, when challenge is being defined, it means the demand is being placed on you to prove yourself, to justify yourself. So I may be a challenge may be demanding of you to prove that you are competent. A challenge may be financial. Financial challenge may be demanding of you to prove that you are capable. So challenges usually cause us to prove ourselves. So now, when we are going through challenges, somebody told me years ago, and he said, what you profess to know, situation will challenge it one day. What you profess to know, people around you will challenge it one day. What you profess to know, organizations will challenge it. You may profess that, I'm hardworking. And then what comes? And then you tell yourself, like some people will say, the one that is looking for work has seen work, and now he's overwhelmed. Challenge is not in the place of comfort. A challenge is not in the place of comfort. Challenges push you outside your comfort zone. So ordinarily, you may find it easy to carry maybe a weight of 50 kg. But when you are asked to carry 100 or 80, that is the challenge. And what is required of you is to now demonstrate your capabilities to now overcome that challenge. You see, when we face challenges, whether it's in the workplace or it's in our businesses or it's in our personal lives, um, the circumstance is not meant to overwhelm us. There's this scripture that I love to use, and it says that if in the day of adversity thy strength fails you, then your strength is small. So what that means for me is that before the day of adversity, and that's what I started doing, I prepare myself for challenges. It's not in the day of war that you start practicing how to fight war. No, it's not in the day. So beforehand, we must build our capacity. Challenges will come. You can't deny that. There are times when you intend to go on a journey. Maybe you're supposed to walk 2 meters to get to an office, and then they say there's a roadblock. You have to go around. That is you extending your journey. That's what a challenge is. It means you are going to extend beyond the norm. You are going to push yourself out of your comfort zone. It's not at that moment you now start practicing, oh, you know what, I need to jog. No, not at all. So for us as leaders, for us to make a mark, we must be prepared before challenges come. And when they do come, sometimes you may not have the capacity, but you don't freeze off. You may not have thought about it ahead, but you don't weaken, you don't chicken out. Do you know how many issues, leaders, business leaders have to cope with every day? It's a beautiful thing that people have the awareness now that everywhere you are, you can lead from where you are. In that capacity that you are, what are the things that are challenging you as a person? What are the things that are questioning you? Testing, okay, you say you can do this. Okay, prove yourself. You think you're a leader. Let's go. Decision making can be an area of challenge. So I'm someone who I've taken a lot of I train people when it comes to business process mapping, critical thinking, problem solving. So when I'm talking, I have a couple of people that when I'm talking, I say, you know what? The reason why you did not get this is because you did not think it through. I say, think, just think. Thinking is a process. As a leader, you must be able to think. You must have time out. Get up very early. Get up ahead of the day. I mean, when I say the day, I mean the lights before dawn and do your thinking. Have your activities planned. Generate ideas around them. Put them down. A problem is confronting you. Don't be quick to give a response. Step back, analyze it. Why? You can use, I always tell people, you can use the 5 whys, you can use the 7 whys. Ask yourself, why 7 times or 5 times? By the time you get to the fifth time, usually you will get an answer. And if you don't, by the time you get to the seventh why, you will get a reason why that is happening. And then as a leader, it helps us to reshape the way we attend to issues, the way we resolve issues, and the way we handle it. At this point, I think I don't know if I'm supposed to ask for questions or you just want me to go on. Please just let me know if people want to ask questions. I've talked about, how you need to be able to work around change by
Mhm.
defining.
Yes, you can still go. You can go on, ma. You can go on, ma. Yeah, we'll get the
Fantastic.
questions. Yeah, you still have
Okay,
a few
fantastic.
more minutes. Yeah, about 20 minutes more.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So, when we look at the issue of change, because you see, the essence of this seminar symposium program is for us to realize that we have the ability in us to become exceptional and significant. When you are significant, it means you're making a difference. It means you can be reckoned with. The contribution you're making where you are is not minute. It cannot be pushed aside at all. You know, when you engage with people and they bring a problem before you as a leader, and you're able to say, you know what, I always tell people, if you are a fast thinker, so I'm someone who I am. Somebody told me years ago and said you have verbal intelligence. And I went to look up what verbal intelligence means. Does it mean that I talk too much? Or what is it trying to say? Let me know before it's just that he's insulting you and I'll be feeling cool on top of insults. So when I checked it out, I realized that verbal intelligence is the ability for someone to engage and be thinking at the same time. So the more you engage discussing about a topic, the more your brain is opening up and you can analyze and you can give a response. It's not the same for everybody. Some people need time, and it's the way we are wired up. So know the kind of leader that you are. A leader, your communication is important. The way you speak, the way you are perceived is important. I have the way I am now. I try not to, when I'm angry, I try not to express the anger. I still try to express reason. And that's because my emotional intelligence kicks in. Emotional intelligence means I have to allow my emotions to be schooled by reasoning. That's the way I like to communicate it. So it means rather than respond emotionally in the past, as a matter of fact, I can freely do it at home. In my cocoon, I can freely express my emotions and not feel anything. But I'm conscious when I'm relating with people that can take away that perception of who I am, which is not really what defines me. But I'm just relaxing my guard. So sometimes I tell people, you know what? When you are a leader, which most of us are. A leader starts from when you're 10, 8, and you have people, looking up to you, say, oh, you are good in this, tell us what to do. You are leading this game. It starts from there. You should be conscious of the fact that people are looking up to you. They're watching your every step, watching your every move, watching your every word and how you say it, right? So I always tell leaders, when you don't have a solution, when you're not clear, don't just say something for the sake of saying it. I belong to a security and development group for Nigeria, made of people in Nigeria and abroad, professors, security details, different people across Nigeria, a mix. So some people, when they bring up a topic, rather than defend or explain, they get angry. So this morning I had to send a post, and I said, let me see if I can get that post out. And I said, you know what, people who were saying nonsense, ignorant talk or whatever. And I said, people talk like that. Okay. So he was addressing someone. Um, and he said, okay, fantastic. I think I got it. Just I'm gonna share this with you. So I mentioned the person's name. I said, because somebody posted something and he said, ignorant fool or something like that. So I said, I think the early okay, not that one. That was another submission. Okay. He said insulting him, he insulted someone. Somebody posted something on Facebook that a professor had said how elites, in the north get money and then they can't survive without money coming from the common purse and all that. And he said he's also from the north, and he said a frustrated, ignorant literate. And somebody now said, argumentum ad hominem. Insulting him is uncalled for. The question is the factual? So that happened, I think, around 2 a.m. So when I got up around 4:30 or so, I said, this is my response. When there's nothing else to say, with words that convey process development of an idea, where one lacks the ability to demonstrate an understanding of the issues being discussed, or does not have the openness of mind that comes from a place of objectivity. I have often found that such people resort to attacking the people at the other side of the discourse. Why do people do this? You wonder. And I said, I think my opinion is because the matter on ground will not get angry or respond to that person as the people who are on the matter. So who speak their minds, and out of frustration, people now respond to them. So when you don't have something to say, don't just attack the person. So when there's a matter, a case, it's common to see people now addressing the people. You are this, you are that. Excuse me, let's address the matter. I like to get people back to the matter. Be the individual involved. So the same thing for us leaders. If you are confronted by an issue and at that instance you don't have an answer, it's not the best time to begin to say, you know what, it should be like this. And later you say, no, I made a mistake, it should be like that. No. Give yourself time. You know what, guys, I'll come back to you on this. Nobody has ever, except if you are in an impromptu debate. But when somebody is asking for something, let me have some thinking and I'll get back to you. Let me do some thinking around this matter and I will get back to you. That, does a lot indeed. Okay, so I want to look at how can we cope with challenges, right? Or 7 tips that we can use when we're dealing with challenges or coping with challenges. Hmm. There are times when challenges will be beyond our capabilities. So it's like gap analysis. Identify what your capacity or capability is. Also identify what you need to be able to deal with that challenge. And if there's a gap in between that, my brother, my sister, I think it's best to advise yourself whether you can or not. All right. So that's one thing I will say before I go on. So now I have this 7 tips I'm going to be sharing with us. And the first one is, if you find yourself as a leader in a challenging situation and a decision has to be made, the first thing, because before I go there, usually when we're in a situation, we take wrong decisions, we become desperate, rather than step back and think, what's the worst? The first thing that you do, think through and ask yourself, what's the worst that can happen? Because in not thinking that way, we can just go the other way and actually move away from the solution that you require. We are often scared of change, because we think of the unknown. We want to avoid change. Is not always bad. Change usually can, propel you to the future that you want, but you probably have not defined for yourself. So it's the key thing, like I've been talking about thinking, is to first of all think through it. What is the worst thing that can happen? Sometimes when I want to um, make a new move, I ask myself, if I don't do this thing, what's the worst thing that can happen? So that I don't put myself under unnecessary pressure. Okay? Write them down, list them, you know. And a good way to deal with the unknown is to think through very carefully. Imagine all the possible outcomes from that change, from that challenge. What are the things that can happen? One, two, three, write them down. You can also think of the last time you faced such a situation, and how that you're able to get through it. Sometimes you feel, oh, I can't survive, I can't make it, but if you just give yourself time, you find that you actually are able to go through. And I talked about emotional intelligence earlier. Usually, what happens is our emotion, the emotional part of our brain, when we allow it to run unbridled, it can begin to imagine things that are not even real, right? You know how that just by thinking of a scary thing, your heart begins to pound. That's the same way it is. I find that by watching movie, because my emotional side is my people side is really high. For my MBTI assessment, my emotional side is really high. So when I'm watching movies and there's a sad story, I'm gonna just say, "Mm, okay, you started crying, right? You started crying, right? That's because, and it's not real. So that's the same way it is when we're going through change. Some things are not real. Your mind will just take it as though it is real. So calm down, let your reasoning part of the brain come into action and ask yourself, what are the worst things that can happen? Okay, so I'm going for an interview. What is the worst thing that can happen? He said, no. Somebody told me years ago, say, so your husband is lucky. I said, what do you mean? He said, I liked you. I said, but you never said anything. He said, I didn't, I felt I was afraid to talk to you because you were too, really? What's the worst that could have happened if he had talked to me? A no. So we shouldn't kill ourselves over outcomes that we are not sure of. So ask yourself how much you can control. I started by saying, this is where you are, this is the capacity that you have, that is the challenge, and that's what the challenge requires you to do. So between that gap, ask yourself, what can I deal with? In this situation, what can I control? And let me see a scenario that I believe would work for us, right? You have just invested 3 million in a business and you're expecting a return in the next 6 months of 750. Not bad, right? Okay. In the second month, you're able to get 400, right? In the third month, you got that's outside your capital, you got 100. Then you now see signs that as if in the third month you won't be able to get, the interest you had projected, and even part of the capital looks threatened already. What would you do? Let's go back. The first thing to ask yourself is, what is the worst that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is you lose that entire money. Does it take your life? No. No, it doesn't. So, if that's the worst and it cannot phase you or kill you, it will set you back maybe, but it won't take. Then you can start from there. The second thing is ask how much you can control. In this scenario that I've painted, I can control what has come in. I can control what may be able to come in. I can't control that because part of my capital is threatened. So let me establish the part that is not threatened and recoup that. Then the part I cannot control, let me identify it. Rather than get frustrated, over the things that are out of my control. When a big change occurs, it's important to figure out how much control over the situation you really have. There are some situations you don't have control over. Some people now, they've not traveled out of Lagos for almost 7, 8 months because of the security situation. Somebody was telling me, said, I don't go to Ondo, Ibadan anywhere because of the x-rays. Before you hear that, bandits are kidnapping. So that is out of his control. Some people, because of the kind of job they do, they still have to travel. They don't have control over that. So what are the things that you can control in that situation, and what are the things you cannot control? Now, the third thing to do is to now accept. This is one area that we find difficult sometimes to do as human beings. I gave an analogy of the tree in the forest, and then in the river earlier, and the tree that bends when the river is flowing actually has the ability to bend, the river flows, and afterwards, when the river starts to stop flowing, the tree stands up again. That is what it means to accept a situation. Accepting does not mean that you are giving in. That's not what it means. Accepting means you're defining it as it is so that you can find a solution to it. If the unwanted change is beyond your control, especially, try to reflect on it. Don't now, become depressed. Last year, I dealt with a lot of people who went into depression. While I was dealing with those people, encouraging them, trying to help them find purpose and reason again to be able to go through what had happened to them because of COVID, members of their families lost their jobs, they were not able to continue their business or something, no, the sort of income to the family, had reduced or something. Different sorts of pressure on people. Some people kill themselves, really, you know. But the thing is, I had to make them see, what, reflect on this. What can you can't do anything about it. So accept it that this is beyond your control and what adjustments do you need to make? I had to walk some people through their plans for the month, each month, and then see, what are the necessities? What are the things that are just good to have? There are some things that are necessities that you need. There are some things that are good to have. Do you know that because of the change that happened last year, some people went back to the old ways of using ash, yes, to brush their teeth. It was that bad, you know. And that's one thing you can do rather than go to Rob. Some people began to find ways of spreading their meals. Before that, you have taken extra seven, no extra seven this time. So when you accept things that are beyond your control, you choose to accept to be comfortable with the fact that what, this is how it is. Because denial of the situation is what causes us to begin to run against the nature of that change. So view change as an opportunity to learn and to grow. When you accept that you cannot change, for instance, in the workplace, appraisal has happened. You've done your best for the entire year. Appraisal happens because of some undertones that you may not understand, or because of some dynamics that are beyond your control. Your appraisal is rated low just so that you don't get a certain score, and then you want to kill yourself. No, it's not worth it. It has happened. If you can contest it, please go ahead. But usually you find that nothing good usually comes from most of those processes, at least in a lot of organizations in Nigeria. So you know what? Just look at it and tell yourself, okay, if this is the excuse for dealing with me in this way, let me take it as an opportunity to learn. And I'm not just saying this, I'm saying it out of my own personal experience. I changed my units to another unit at some point at work, and in that year, there were lots of things that happened. People that could coach me left. The next person that could was really busy, didn't have time. So I was doing a lot of things by myself, and I was able to close out some things. Then there was one particular client that there were issues around, and that was used to judge my entire year. And I was like, oh my God, but this is not right, but this is not fair. I was in that mood. I was in that place. I'm human, right? Even though I have emotional intelligence and but I'm very human as well. So what I did was I quickly told myself, you know what? Because I always say what I tell others, I tell myself. So I said, you know what, get out of it. So this is what they've said. What is the truth? How can you prove the truth? This is a challenge. How can you overcome that challenge to justify, yourself? I said, so those things, I'm going to knock them out. Do you know that within 3 months, I was given something bigger, to handle and left almost like on my own because I proved that, what, those things you say I don't have, I will get them. But the first thing to do is, accept, and reframe, tell yourself, what, this is it, okay, this is beyond me, but I can learn and I can grow. So the first thing to do, wow, this is an area that I love. You know what? As leaders, I worked years ago with an MD who loved Bolly, that's roasted plantain. And you will see the kind of jeep he goes in. It's not something you can stop on the road and be buying Bolly. So he would usually send different people to buy. So when a deal has clicked, He sends different people to buy so that he would see the one that can know the kind of volley that he likes. Once he gets the person, that's his that's his delivery person for that mission for that period. You know why the MD does that? Because regularly you can eat chicken a la carte meals. You can have Chinese. You can eat anything you want at that level. But those things that you had that were signs of celebrations earlier in life, you couldn't just get them anywhere easily. So he would, when there's something big, man, let me get this, and he would take a drink to it. Now, the fourth thing you need to do when you're dealing and coping with change, because you have accepted and looked at learning opportunities in the third stage that I mentioned, the next thing to do is to now tell yourself, you know what, I need to celebrate. Yeah, yes, you ask me, what are you celebrating? Not everything is bad, is it? There are some positive things that happens around us, even when negative things are happening. So that's what people mean when they say, look on the bright side, right? Look on the bright side. What are the positives that you have? What are the things that still gives you reason to say yes? Because that's where your energy to deal with the negatives will come from. Yes, your energy to deal with the negative comes from celebrating, the positive aspect. So one of the positive aspects of a situation might not be obvious to begin with, so that's why there's this common song, count your blessings, name them one by one. Counting your blessings when you are in a sorrowful situation, when you are in a challenging situation, may not always be easy. But when you reflect, you'll find out, wow, oh my God, I still have this reason to thank God. I still have this reason to thank God. Oh my, I still have that reason to thank God. Sometimes I'm away from home. Okay, I think yesterday morning I had to go through that session I said I was in all day. And I had laid my bed, my nanny was cleaning the house, and my everything was set because I like to go and come back to a very set, house. And then my children came in on their way to school with crumbs of biscuits and dumped it all on the bed. And I looked at it, and they had left for school. If they were at home, I would have made them come to clear their bed. Well, and I looked at him and I said, hmm, well, there are some people looking for children to come and scatter their house like this. So I celebrate the fact that there are children to scatter my house like this. So even though it's something that should upset me, but I was able to find joy in it. So sometimes we need to find joy. You can still, find something to help you celebrate and be like, you know what, it's not all that bad. And really, as long as we have life and we have the energy to come up again, it's usually not that bad, really. I tell you, it's usually not that bad. Okay. Then the fifth thing we need to do, just like I talked about when we we're talking about change, is to take action. At any point in time, to take action. If the unwanted change is within your control, right? If we've said there are some things that are not within your control, there's some things you can't do. Appraisal has happened, you can't change it. But what are the things within your control? Look at it, define them, and then you know what, begin to work on them. Action is what differentiates a winner from a loser. Should I say that again? Action differentiates a winner from a loser. Losers can work hard, but the action that you take that leads you to succeed, this one makes a difference. People play. So I was watching a match yesterday. I think it was Spain and um, is it Austria or something, and they played. I think they were equal, so there was no winner, there was no winning goal, and then they gave them 15 minutes extra, and then they went into penalty shootout. It was just the kicking of the ball into the net. That was the action that was required to declare a winner. So it's not a question of you are doing it or you're not doing it. It's the action that I'm taking. So when we are all throwing our balls into the net, your ability to cause the keeper to go this way while your ball is going that way is what makes it go into the net, or your ability to evade the keeper. So if you don't have that ability, it will set us apart. So action is what we need to take. When we know the things that are within our control and we have defined it, we should begin to work on them like immediately. Take an active approach to dealing with change. Don't stay back. Somebody told me, I met a very senior friend, and I said, this is your friend, this is where you are, and I find that there's a little bit of a disparity. So can you tell me why? And I said, you know what? I have the ability to do everything he does, but I always procrastinate. And this is somebody who is like 70. So is he going to do anything about it at this point? No. But it has also defined where they both are. One person is on this level, the other person is on this level. Do you get what I'm saying? So taking action makes a difference. And it's not just to take action blindly, right? You have to try something around problem solving, think about the issues, define the solutions, look at the best solution and take them, set some goals, define objectives, and just address those challenges. But whatever it is, take action, review your action. Now, as leaders, there's another area that I have found most interesting, and that is coping with changes and challenges. The sixth thing I'm looking at now is managing our stress. Yes, you do so much, so much, so much, deal with so many issues, and then you find that you feel you're losing control because I did a workshop on stress management years ago, and the reason why people go under stress is when you feel like you're losing control. When you feel like something is going out of your ability to deal or cope or to meet up, that's when you feel stressed, right? So if I was going to work and there was no traffic, I wouldn't be stressed. But the moment there's traffic and I feel like, oh, I'm not going to make it, stress sets in. So improving your ability to handle stress will go a long way. Why do we feel stressed as leaders? Maybe you should reflect on it. And I'll share with you, some of the reasons why I think we have stress, go through stress. One, we are doing a lot of things at the same time. Two, we are being many things to many people at the same time. So this person expects you to be strong. The other person expects you to be bold. So you have to be strong, you have to be bold. The other person expects you to be caring. You have to be strong, you have to be bold, you have to be caring. At other times, you just want to be you, not caring about anything. Just leave me as I am. But when you now find those responsibilities fostered on you and the pressure to meet up, sometimes it may be stress. So practice. When you know that these are things you need to do at the end of the day. You have to be big, grow strong. You have to be bold, courageous for somebody. You have to be emotional and caring. These are things that are expected. It could be your manager. It could be your wife, your children. Yeah, different things with different people. You can't change that. So what do? You find a way to help you deal with those things so that you can give the best of yourself at all times. So try practicing meditation, or engaging in relaxing techniques. You can breathe, do a lot of breathing when you are confronted with a situation or you feel like you're going to lose control. Take a deep breath and breathe, hold it, then breathe out. It's always advisable to breathe out with our mouth. Years ago, I tried to find out why do they say breathe, especially when I was pregnant. And I realized that the reason is because your brain uses oxygen. The blood uses oxygen. So the moment you take in air, it kind of causes oxygen to run through our brain, and we have a calming, feeling at the same time. So take a breath, and then look at other ways you can deal with stress. The reason why you need to deal with stress is those things that you have to do them. They won't run away. They won't leave you. It's your responsibility. And if you don't do them and you procrastinate, you see the outcomes. Like that analogy I gave, someone up here, someone down here, the same level of exposure, the same level of experience, but different kinds of actions that they have taken. So managing your stress will help you. If you've ever been with me in my car, somebody said you'll find that music is one of the ways that I distress. Not distress, I de-stress. D-E stress. D-E hyphen stress. I distress. I love to sing, so I love to listen to good music, and it could be any genre of music. It could be worship. it could be blues, it could be jazz, but anything at that point in time that can just help me. And the moment I'm listening to music, it's like I'm in another world. Sometimes it's reading, and at other times it's just walking, going on a long walk, and then still listening to music at the end of the day. So what is it that works for you? Some people is just drinking water. Some people is going to visit some other friends, because there are some friends that understand you and helps you to deal and cope better with whatever it is you're dealing with. I hope will stay with me. Um, I'm going to the final one. I talked earlier when I was talking about change alone. I talked about resources that you need. You see, we can't go the journey alone as a leader. I think there's a quote that says, if you want to travel far, travel alone. I don't know. Um, I think it's travel far or something. If you want to travel far, travel alone. If you want to travel well, you know, something. I can't, easily remember that quote, but it simply addresses the fact that if you want to, do something well enough and enjoy the journey, it's best you do it with people, you know, do it with people so that you have people that can help you, that can support you as a support system. So the final tip that I have is for you to seek support that you need. Yes, seek support that you need. Don't think that you must be a superhero. Superheroes happen only in cartoons. Yes, I've never seen a real Wonder Woman, a real Superman, a real Batman, a real Spider-Man. No, they only happen in cartoons. You can be a hero, you can be a hero to somebody, but superheroes, forget it. And heroes and sheroes also need support. So it's normal for you to feel overwhelmed. It's normal for things to get out of hand once in a while. It's normal. But the thing is, your support system. I was telling somebody earlier, I had a meeting earlier, an early morning meeting, and I said, you know what? The reason why some people are efficient is because they have a good support system. If you go into a house, things are always set, or an office, everywhere is spick and sparkly, meetings are happening to time, schedules are running, everything, because there are people behind those things. So you must identify the support you need, you must seek the support you need, and you must learn to ask for help. One thing that I've seen when it comes to support is some people feel um for some reason, either they feel big or they feel ashamed to seek support. So, when there is change, especially when you're facing something that is really big, or there's too much change happening all at once around you, then it might be best to seek for support. You can ask for a family, you can ask for friends, you can ask for emotional support, any kind of support that you may need. Sometimes it's mentoring support. Somebody saw something I wrote on LinkedIn and, chatted with me very quickly on one or two areas that he was experiencing challenges in his workplace on, and I walked him through it. And another person actually had the the boss, the MD, reach out to me to say, you know what, I wanted to coach this person through this profession, for a bit, and I did. So you find that seeking help does not mean, it just means that you know what you need. Most of the times we don't know what we need. And that's why I started by saying in the beginning, define as a leader, why you need to make change first, and then what that change will be for you. How you would be able to identify it, draw an image, get a picture, define it. So most of the time we don't even know. We don't even know that we need help. We can't even define. We can't even understand that you can't do it alone. You know, babies, children struggle with writing at the time when they shouldn't be writing. I can't write. I can't write. Yes, you will be able to write. It's just not time. So at that age, that person needs help to be taught how to read or to write. So what do you need help in? I'm coming into a new profession. I want to look at the people in that space that can coach me or walk me through it. Leaders, you see, we deceive ourselves when we think people are the leadership helm, just stay where they are and they have all the knowledge in them. No, they go for conferences, they have networks, where they seek support from, they talk, They have mentors. When I heard one time that there's this 69 or 68-year-old man that I always talk to, when he said his mentor said, I was like, oh my God, a 68-year-old man has a mentor. Then who am I? So you need to have support to back you up. And you know what? You can get support in any area. So don't say that, oh, one person is my support for life. No. During COVID last year, I went through I contracted someone to be my makeup coach. So I was taking lessons around that. Recently I contracted someone to be my HR coach, and we're working on this. As a coach and as a trainer, I contracted someone internationally, I think that was 5 years ago, to coach me, and I did the program with her, and she's my coach. So who do you need? What kind of support do you need? Sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I'm doing something, I get people to help me do something. I get people that need, so it can be some people that will talk to you or clear your head. It can be people that will help you deliver on some part of what you need to work on. So you need to do your work, you need to go to the market, you need to get support. Don't become El Shaddai. Don't supply all to everyone and then find yourself with nothing at the end of the day. So you can look at options as well. I recently ran a program for women, married and single career women across different parts of the world. We had a speaker from Australia and from the US and Nigeria. And one of the things that the lady from Australia, Chinyere Marvel Adeyemi, she's a social worker. One of the things she said is that sometimes we need to get help, psychological help, professional help. In this part of the world, we don't seek help. We bottle up a lot of things and then we just erupt. When a leader erupts, it's a volcano that erupts. So those are my tips for us. And I want to thank you all for listening. I hope I've done a bit of justice to this conversation. I can continue to talk on and on and on if you leave me like a trailer without breaks. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
Come
you.
on, let us give. I wish oh God, I'm so blessed. Thank you very much, Dr. Esther. I knew you were going to deliver. So I'm not surprised. I'm not too surprised.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Ma. Thank you for that
Thank
words
you.
of they were inspiring. I learned so much. Um I think what you said just made me remember one of the quotes I heard from someone. He said if you think that you are an El Shaddai, he said very soon you shall die. As in I shall die. You are an El Shaddai, then you shall die. So you have to choose
Mhm.
whether you are
Mhm.
the El Shaddai or you will die soon. So thank you
Yeah.
very much,
Yeah.
ma'am. That was very impactful. God bless you, ma. So for
Thank
everyone
you.
watching us this very before Dr. Esther takes her leave. If you have any question, please can you just put it on the chat there? I'm sure Mr. Terry would help us would project that on the screen. But while we're waiting for yeah, someone is giving you an applaud there. We can see
Thank
people
you.
giving. If you're truly impacted, can you also give your thumbs up? Tell us what you learned. Also, tell us what you learned, so that others can see it. So Ma, I think let me just quickly. I have this question here from someone before we get other questions. Okay. So this person said, "I've just lost my job. Um, and I found out that my career is obsolete right now. So what do I do? How do I move to a new career path? Because you mentioned about change. So how do I change to a new career path? Because right now I have no control. So what should this person do in order to move to a new career path? Should the person just stay in that obsolete career and just start? You mentioned something about, sometimes when you don't have a control over what, maybe you just have to just stay in there and look for any improvement, or how does this person change to a new career path, especially in this uncertain time that we are in now?
Thank you. If you permit me, I would like to drop my number. I'll answer, or I'd like to drop my number for that person to reach me personally, and I would walk the person through some things one on one. But I'll
Okay, all
answer the
right, ma'am.
question. So if it's okay, I'll drop my number. But let me
Yes,
let me
please.
answer. All right. So my number is 0802
0802
76 yes
76.
00
Okay.
7600 866.
866. Okay, let me check that if I'm correct. 0802 760 866.
7600
Okay, 7600 866.
866. Yes.
Okay, all right.
All right. So what I'm going to say to that person, first and foremost, is you are looking for somebody who has changed her career twice.
Wow.
Yes. Her career
Wow.
path twice.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I said let me talk to that person one on one.
Hmm.
Now, when I graduated um from it with then I used to say strong tutu, but tutu is tutu from English, right? I studied English, and then by the time I was involved in an accident in 2002, you probably would be able to see that. I Okay, I'm hearing some background noise. I don't know if you want me to wait for that to go
No,
down.
no, that's fine, ma. You can go on now. You can go on
Okay.
now.
Okay, so by the time I got a job in Lagos, I went back to the north after NYSC, and I taught in a school after service year. So the first job I got after service year was a teaching job with Jigawa State government. Along the line, I had an accident, and then by that time, my master's application was through. So I came back to study for my master's in English. In the course of doing surgeries to correct some of the errors or accidents, I got a job as a personal assistant in 2004. So if I'm looking at that as the start of my career, not NYC and teaching in the north, I started as a personal assistant. I did that personal assistant from 2004 till 2000 and I think 8, 9, right? When I was in insurance, then I moved from insurance to microfinance as PA, as executive assistant. In all that journey, I had myself combining personnel, so recruitment, administration, just supporting the HR at that point in time. From in 2009, I left microfinance, and then I went to NGO, helped to establish NGO and all that. And then in 2012, I joined my current employer, Phillips Consulting Limited, as personal assistant to the MD.
Wow.
By that time, I could, by that time I could count almost 10 years, right, in that profession. So if you're going to be counting administrative things I've done after that, it's a different thing. So personal assistant journey ended there. I joined Phillips Consulting as personal assistant. And I think in the same year, you know, when the MD had to leave and there was need for me to move into another department, I moved into the training department. That's how I started my facilitation journey professionally. And one thing that I did was I said, you know what? Because I'm a driven person, what do I need to excel here? What do I need to do here? Bam, I just went to join that. So the first thing I did was ask myself, so for that person, there are skills that are transferable, even though that job is obsolete. My job was not obsolete, but I changed profession. But there were skills that I could transfer. Communication skills was critical. Ability to analyze needs was critical because when you're working at that level as PA, you are dealing with the business. You are dealing with the business, talking with the business. So I had to do that. And then I was in training. I grew as an assistant consultant. Remember that I had gotten up to the highest level of being a PA. That's the highest level. So when I moved to training, I was an assistant consultant, and I rose from being an assistant consultant to becoming a consultant and a senior consultant in training in Phillips Consulting. So I grew and developed myself, and then that's the moving from to then in 2019 I moved from training to core HR consulting.
Wow.
So how I did that and how anybody can do it is something I can share and walk you through. It has a lot to do with your capabilities. It has a lot to do with the opportunities around you at the time that you can take, and then your willingness to commit to your learning and your development. Because you see, whatever when when I talk about HR, people think that I've spent 20, 25 years in it, but it's just a subset. Training is a subset, and HR is a main header for our profession. So what I've done is all the time, I'm growing myself, I'm identifying the trends, I'm looking at the skills that are needed, and I'm upskilling all the time.
Thank you.
So that's
Thank you. Thank you very, 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 very much, Mark. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for this wonderful answer. So for the person asking that question, I want to believe that you please call her so that you can get to learn more on that and get to get more clarity to your question. Thank you very much, Ma. We are so, so blessed. God bless you. See you some other time. Over to you, Mr.
all
Terry.
right. Thank you. Nice seeing you again. Thank you. Fabulous
Bye.
smile.
All right, thank you, Dr. Esther. I don't know if you can hear me. Thank you, Dr. Esther, for the awesome time.
Yes,
I
I
know
can.
it was very impromptu this morning, but so grateful that you delivered. We'll see you back at the camera. We'll see you back end. Right?
It wasn't impromptu. It wasn't impromptu. I had prepared. I was ready. I just thought it was in the evening, not in the morning. So it's fine. I mean,
Awesome.
and I thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks. I appreciate it. We need to end this section right away because the next section should start in a few minutes, just very few minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, over to you. I will end the section and then let's have the
Okay.
next section. End the next
All
section
right.
in a minute or
Okay.
two. And then,
Okay. All right. So thank you very, very much, everyone, for staying through the whole session. I believe you're impacted. I was truly, truly impacted. There were so many things that I learned doing in this session, and I believe that you've also learned. So now we're going into the second session. The second session would start 10:15 p.m. a.m. So please don't go too far. And you're going to do me a favor. Make sure you get someone to join. This next session is going to be very impactful. Please don't even, and guess what? It's free. This is something that people get paid for. People pay for this, for the next topic. People pay for it. So please don't go too far. In the next 5 minutes will be covered. I'm just going to take a short break. By 10:15, the next session is going to start. So just take a short break and then I'll see you. Also, don't forget that you can also get a replay. If you want the replay to listen, because you should have this in your archive, you should have it. So please don't forget to send a DM to Mr. Terry Omodibo. God bless you and see you at 10:15 a.m. God bless you. Bye.